amazing, beautiful people. How you doing? Welcome back to another monster reaction video. So, last episode, we were introduced to a completely new guy, and he's now Ava's bodyguard, and they're going on random adventures together, and it's now the Ava and bodyguard story, and yeah, seems alright. I don't know. Monster loves doing this, introducing new characters, and then making them main characters within an episode. I don't know how it does it, but it does it every single time. Any other anime would be ruined doing this, constantly drifting away from the main story and introducing new characters. It would ruin the whole story. Monster's the only anime that somehow gets away with it, and I don't know how. And it does. It's always great. Anyway, like the video, subscribe for more. The Unblood reactions are uploaded early to Patreon. It costs $1 a month to get access to everything there. The link is in the description. And let's jump into my first time ever reaction to Monster episode 39. 59.
注文はいつものやつ。いつものやつってなんだっけ？いい加減に覚えろよ、ロビー。ハンバーガー、チーズはダブル、ケチャップは多め、トマトは厚切り。ピクルス入れたら殺す。そんなの覚えられっかよ。
Rookie mistake, alright? I've only ever had a usual once in my life. And I'm actually curious, how many of you have ever had a usual? And when I used to go to university, I used to have to travel into London and then out of London. I had to go, like, to where I live, I had to travel into London, get a train that travelled north, because I went to university in Nottingham. And whenever I'd go into London, I'd go to St. Pancras. And I'd be walking through St. Pancras Station. I'd always go to a coffee shop, and I'd always get, like, a goat's cheese wrap for breakfast, like a panini, and I'd get a chai latte. And those are, like, what I'd get every single morning. And this is a rookie mistake, because you don't say the usual. The person in the coffee shop, they say the usual. And then one day, I walked into the place, and I was in the queue, and I saw the lady behind the counter, and she went like, she looked at me, and she went, and then I was like, okay. And by the time I got there, it was all made up, and she was like, there's your usual. And then ever since then, when I went in, I just like, the usual. And I was like, yeah, so cool. I felt like awesome. I was like, oh, I can finally say the thing they say in movies. Anyone ever had that before? But yeah, you have to wait till they say it. That's TENMA.
あの中国人だかベトナム人、お前のこと嗅ぎ回ってるぜ。ここんとこよく来るんだ、あの客。お前のこと何者だって聞いてきたぜ。
Yes, the Chinese or Vietnamese guy.
あいつは中国人でもベトナム人でもない。ほう。おそらく日本人だ。
At least that guy.
脳外科医だ。凄腕のな。なあ、そうだろう。ドクターTENMA.
That's TENMA? I thought it was Carl. God damn.
しろ。でもって院長令嬢の元婚約者だ。エヴァに何をさせるつもりだ。エヴァ
I don't like watching anyone hurt my
い
boy.
つまで婚約者のつもりだ。聞くところによりゃあんたも医者どころか逃亡。
I don't like watching this. TENMA kick his
ち
ass.
ゃんと入るとこ入って出
I don't
直し
think
な。
he could win, but give it a go.
模範囚ならいつか出られるかもしれない。エヴァを解放しろ。解放？俺は別に何の拘束もしてないぜ。それどころかあの女、毎日パーティー三昧だ。エヴァに合わせろ。合わせろ。おいおい、人の店めちゃめちゃにすんなよ。これ以上うろちょろすんな。消えな。エヴァを消えな。
Monster's taken a very random turn. TENMA literally broke out of jail to protect Ava, but Ava's now being protected by a bodyguard, which, no offense to TENMA. TENMA, I imagine, is tough, but TENMA doesn't fight. Despite all his training and everything he went through with that guy, he doesn't fight. He doesn't fight anybody. He's like a pacifist. He's basically got, like TENMA could probably hold himself against most average people quite well. But because he doesn't actually fight, it's fucking pointless. It would be like learning to shoot but never firing a gun, like, which is pretty much what he's actually done as well. So, it's very bizarre, you know? I learned to fly a plane. I'm scared of heights. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, what I'm trying to get at here is, maybe Ava's safer with the bodyguard guy than she would be if she was with TENMA. Maybe. I hate to say it, but it's true. In which case, TENMA kind of broke out for no reason. The only thing is, where does Roberto fit into all of this?
健三に会った？
ええ、2日前に。まあ一応報告までに。あなたに会いたがってましたよ。
殴ったりしてないでしょうね。
ええ、しませんよそんなこと。
帰るわよ。
え、今日のパーティーはもうこれでいいんですか？
今日というよりももうパーティーは終わり。多分ね。
ご苦労だったね、エヴァ。これから食事でもどうだね。
行くわ。
What is going on?
彼女をレストランに。
Unless she was supposed to get Tenma to come close to her? In which case, why would she go to parties? How does that help get Tenma close? And she never spoke to anyone at these parties either. But Tenma shows up and suddenly she's not going to parties anymore? That seems a bit suspicious or coincidental, doesn't it? Like, what the fuck is going on?
送り届けて、お前はここで晩飯か。パーティーや高級レストランの食い物に比べりゃ、ここのハンバーガーの方がよっぽどマシだ。褒められてんだかけなされてんだかわかんねえな。
It's a compliment. How could that be an insult in any way? How is that an insult? Imagine going to someone and saying, hey, I better go to loads of fancy restaurants. Your food, fucking because he's saying that his place isn't fancy. I know, that's a little bit of an insult. Never mind, okay.
しつこいなあんたも。また痛い目に遭いたい。
You're a real dick, man.
消えろって言ってんのがわかる。店長も動くな。動いたら撃つ。
He won't shoot.
なんとも物騒な医者だな。
誰から依頼された？お前の直接のボスが赤ん坊だということは分かっている。だがエヴァの護衛をお前に命じたのは組織のもっと上の人間だ。誰に命じられた？
知らねえよ誰だか。だが顔は知ってるぜ。メガネの男だ。
メガネの男。そいつはエヴァに何をさせようとしているんだ？
だから言ったろ。パーティーに出席させてるだけだ。飲んで食って帰る。それだけだ。
それだけじゃないはずだ。そこでエヴァは何か特別な行動をとっているはずだ。
It's really sad in these situations because I feel weird. I feel like conflicted in this moment because Tenma pulling out the gun and pointing at him, I'm not like proud of Tenma. I feel like kind of like, I don't know, it feels kind of cheap. We all know Tenma's not going to shoot. I'm guessing he knows that as well, so he's just humoring Tenma here. And he could just take the gun from Tenma, I imagine, quite easily. So in this situation, Tenma pulling out the gun just made Tenma kind of seem weak. I don't know if anyone else feels like that. It's a weird move.
ないね。
I guess it's the only move he had, though.
そういや今
今日。
日。いや、なんてことないんだ。あの女指さしたんだ。
指さした。
若い男をさ。
若い男。
Is he lying?
こうやって金髪の綺麗な顔をした若い男をさ。ただそれだけだけどな。
エヴァは今どこに？
その例の
Ava is one of the only other people who's seen Johan. Not many people have, right? Not many people we know about, or not many people who are part of the story right now. Ava was looking for someone at these parties. I, for some reason, thought it was Roberto, but that doesn't make any sense now I think about it, because she mentioned about not getting killed by Roberto, so obviously she's now protected from Roberto because she's doing this job. But a lot of people want to meet Johan, want to speak to Johan, a lot of people like him, a lot of people know about what he does, and if going to all these parties, Johan could end up popping up at one of them. Interesting.
依頼人のメガネと食事だ。
どこだ？早く言え！それはどこだ？エヴァの役目はおそらくそれで終わりだ。
この仕事が終わったら されるわ。もうパーティーは終わり。
エヴァはどこに？
Ah, shit.
待て！彼女は
ホテルへ送ったよ。君は銃を持っているかね？
いや、銃は持たないことにしてるんで。
じゃあこれを使いたまえ。彼女を殺せ。
あの時いつもと同じようにパーティーは繰り広げられていた。酒の匂い、香水の匂い、意味のない笑い。
Right, so two options. Either they wanted to actually see if Ava did know who Johan was. Now they know. They want her out of the picture because she can obviously identify him. And it was a test this whole time. I don't think it's that. I think they wanted to meet Johan, and they don't want any loose ends. Ava was their ticket to meeting Johan. Now Ava's ticket has been punched. Ava's got to be punched too.
いつもと同じだった。あの瞬間を除いては。エヴァはある若い男を指さした。
Oh, look who it is.
するとそこへメガネの男がもう一人の身なりのいい若い男を連れて現れた。それからその若い男二人は
They've been there this whole
握手を
time.
交わした。その時は気づかなかったが、どうやらそれでエヴァの仕事は終わったらしい。
The door's open? And she's drinking. I'm shocked. Crazy.
やっぱりあなたが私を殺す役だったのね。どうぞ。お酒もいい具合に回ってきたし、もう思い残すことなんか何にもないから。
I don't believe that. I'm pretty sure what did she drink? It looks orange. Doesn't look like any whiskey. It's like a liqueur, maybe.
このホテルで撃つわけにはいかないか。あんた前にも自分の彼女を撃って血の海の中立ってたって言ってたもんね。外へ連れてって撃ちなさいよ。そうしないと汚した部屋弁償させられるわよ。
Was it wine? What's she drinking, do you reckon? That bottle, weird bottle.
思い残したこと。
I knew she'd have regrets. It's gonna be Kenzo, right?
どうでもいいんだけどね。私、今日何をしたのかな。あんた見てたでしょ、私が指さしたの。私、きっととんでもないことしたんだわ。とんでもない人間を悪魔に引き合わせたんだわ。メフィストとファーストを引き合わせた。どうでもいいんだけどね。今日でも。
The animators do a really good job on Ava's face because she always looks twisted. And it's like a hard one to describe, but like the rest of the characters don't carry sort of the emotions Ava does. And that's realistic to their characters. Ava blinks in and out of like bitterness and hatred and like, but like then like brokenness. Like she is a very, very emotional character, and I think they do an excellent job on the animations of her. And her voice actor's outstanding as well. Ava is a character. I'm not really fond of Ava. She's never really done anything massively redeeming other than a couple of things in the past. And I like, but overall, she's never really changed despite some good moments. She's a dick, but I think she is incredibly important for the story and a great character for Monster.
はなくなっちゃったみたいだけど、まだここにこれから先のパーティーの招待状があるわ。よかったら私が死んだ後、あんた私が何をしちゃったのか確かめといてくれない？
Do you think we're gonna see a Rose Mansion Part 2?
さあ、 そろそろ片付けてちょうだい。
逃げよう。
Her lips look huge there, weirdly. They look huge again.
あんた何か勘違いしてんじゃないの？あんたと逃げる？冗談でしょ。私たちいつからそういう関係になったのよ。
俺はもう人は殺せない。
人は殺せない？じゃあ悪魔なら殺せるっていうの？私は悪魔よ。あんたに買ってやったそのスーツもネクタイも全部健三が昔着てたのと同じ柄。わかる？あんたを健三天満に見立ててただけ。殺しなさいよ。早く殺しなさいよ。早く。早く殺しなさいよ。早く殺さなきゃ。あんたが殺される。
That one statement makes me realize that Ava's bitterness to this man in this moment is simply because she wants to save him. She doesn't want him to die. She doesn't want anyone else to kill him. She does like him. Maybe not in a romantic way, but she's at least fond of him. And because of that, she's literally goading him into shooting her so he can live himself.
悪魔なら殺せるか。
You should really link up with TENMA, bro. Be good to get him on your side. But then again, who needs a gunman who doesn't shoot?
起きてよ。大丈夫だよ。ちょいと酔い覚ましていくだけだからさ。ダメだよ。こんなところで寝たら死んじゃうよ。いいからここに置いてっておくれよ。
It's curious how many people I speak to who don't drink, myself included. And you can always tell, a little trick, when someone has a story like this, when they don't drink. You go, you don't drink? Why don't you drink? Never really liked it. Don't really like the flavor. Anything like that, right? It's a mask because there's a story like this behind it, and they don't want to share it with people because people who actually went through shit like this as kids don't randomly share it with everybody. That's something you'll always find. Anyone who's really open and willing to share these things is either a bit of an odd person, which there are some, or is lying. So the people who randomly like, I don't really like taste, usually they're the ones who have a story like this, sadly. Keep that in mind. Are they in the same place? The hotel room looks different. It looks very different. Bro's getting naked. I preferred this suit, to be honest, dude. He's gonna hang the tie on the door. That's why. How many times has he put Ava to bed and it hasn't been sus?
冴えねえ面だな。俺はいつも冴えねえ。
I always look gloomy.
誰か俺を探しに来なかったか。
いや誰も。ただ夕べの日本人がこれ置いてった。
ヘルブラウホテル205号室。
何かあったらそこに連絡してくれとよ。注文はいつものやつか。
Hey, he asked for the usual this time.
クソまずいハンバーガーで腹いっぱいにしちまったら行く気がうせら。
どこ行くんだ？
パーティー。不思議なもんだ。
Oh no. Oh no. There's literally sirens. Can you guys hear that? Hold on. Don't know if the microphone picked that up. We keep seeing like flashes and flash moments of a situation, and he's like says, and we've seen him say like, oh, if I turned up 5 minutes later, I wouldn't have seen that horror or something like that, blah, 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 right? Now he's going to the party, and Ava said, go to the parties and see what I've done. I feel like we can connect the dots here, guys.
ネクタイ一本ありゃどこへでも入れる。こんなもん一本で。いた。で、あいつは悪魔なのか。手が腫れ上がるほど何人もの人間と握手を交わし、そいつはパーティー会場を後にした。
This is gonna sound really sus. Right. I only know this because of the TV show Burn Notice. Okay, anyone who's watched it will know what I'm about to say. When tailing someone, do you want to know the easiest trick? Super easy. Sounds like so easy that when I say it, you're gonna be like, yeah, obviously. Don't tail someone alone. That is the easiest trick. There's another thing, which is pass people. Passing people is fine too. If you're tailing someone, you can pass them, take a different turning, loop back round, like things like that. They elude suspicion. But the number one trick is to tail someone with 3 people. Have 2 cars that are outside and around and about. You're driving behind. When it gets to a point like you've been tailing for too long, swap out. There you go. Done. There you go. I've just taught you guys how to tail somebody. Obviously, that requires having multiple people with multiple cars, but it is the way to not get caught. And the only this is not one of Luke's sus moments. I don't want it being added to the compilation that one of you is probably making. This is simply me repeating something that was in a TV show I watched. Okay. Obviously, this guy can't do that in this situation, so it doesn't matter.
と言ってもどの部屋だ。
Imagine this was the hotel TENMA was at.
どうぞ中にお入りください。
Well, that's a bit
どうぞ
suspicious.
こちらへおかけください。遠慮なさらずに。
He knew he was gonna be there? He doesn't seem nervous.
あなたも彼に会いたいんでしょ？
彼？
僕も待ってるんです。もうすぐ彼来ますよ。彼がやってくるまで何か話をしましょう。何の話がいいかな。あ、そうだ。世界が終わる話をしましょう。
This guy's got those like
その若造は危機として喋り続けた。
I can't even think of a word of it, but like smarmy
それはまるで
like teeth look that they give characters like this all the time.
親に語ってき
I
た
don't know why
せ
they
子供
they
の
always do this when like characters are supposed to be a bit like
そうやって
douchebag.
奴は俺に語った。何が世界が終わる話だ。マニアックな若造のたわごとだ。その時はそう思った。
どうでした？
We've seen
面
this
白い話
before.
でしょう。楽しんでもらえましたか、マルティンさん。
We've seen this conversation before, haven't we? Very, very similar. We've seen this before. I thought it was going to be something at the party. Something to do with the shaking hands, maybe? Maybe like a mark? But now I actually don't know.
なんで俺の名前を知ってるんだ。
そうだ。次はあなたの話をしましょう。赤ん坊のところでもう3年になりますか。
俺のことを調べたのか。
その前は刑務所にいた。大変でしたね、8年も。模範囚だったんでしょ？殺人を犯した割に早く出所できましたもんね。楽しかったですか？彼女との暮らし。撃ち殺したというあの彼女ですよ。名前はエッダ。
随分と悪趣味だな、坊や。
彼女はひどいドラッグ中毒でしたね。あなたは必死にドラッグから足を洗わせようとした。なかなかできることじゃないですよ。愛ですか？
痛い目に遭いてえのか。
彼女は立ち直った。あなたの帰りを食事を作って待っていた。幸せな暮らしが始まった。
殴られてえのかって聞いてるんだ。
でもあの晩部屋に戻るととんでもないものが目に飛び込んできた。彼女の前の男が部屋にいた。再びドラッグをやってしまった彼女は朦朧としながらもあなたの姿を見て、
Well, I'm gonna try and remember to censor it this time because for some reason editing Luke always forgets. Luke, please censor this. This is not like the random pictures. This is literally someone banging somebody. This needs to be censored. I'm not gonna rewind. One, because I don't really want to. It's a weird scene, and two, because I gotta edit this. So fuck me, man.
何度も何度も言いましたね。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
How does he know that?
でもあなたは男と共に彼女を撃ち殺したということになっていますよね、裁判では。
I don't know the rules in this is based in what, Germany or Prague or wherever they are currently right now. I don't know what the rules are or the laws are, so being like vague here. But what I can say is there is something called a moment of fit of rage, and this is actually true. Basically, the reason for this is because to commit murder, you need to have the actus rea and the mens rea, which is the action and the mental element. I've mentioned this before. They need to cross over. You can't have one without the other, otherwise it's considered manslaughter. To commit murder, you need to have the intent to kill, and you need to kill. And those need to cross over. In an act of rage, it's a weird grey area where these two kind of rub up against each other. So because of that, it can be not thrown out, but it will mitigate the charges. It's a bizarre area. So, for example, in the UK, and I think the US have this as well, if there's... Actually, I don't know if the US do, but in the UK at least, if I was in this situation, I walked in and instantly, bang, bang, and it was instant, then that would be considered an act of rage. It is like a moment that is so devastatingly emotional and it can snap a person. And that act of rage, the action has to be instantaneous. If I walk away and come back, that defense doesn't work. It has to be immediate. I have to see something has to happen. I have to immediately react. And if there's any delay, it is thrown out. It cannot be considered an act of fit of rage. So there you go. That's like a random bit of defense here. So if this guy was here in the UK and committed this, he wouldn't have spent as long in prison. It would have been a mitigated sentencing because of that moment. Only if he acted immediately. Because it is supposed to be considered that, because it's always compared to the reasonable person. Every single crime you always compare to a reasonable person. So the jury and the lawyers will always go, what would a reasonable person do in this situation? And because it is a situation where you cannot really compare a reasonable person, you can only guess. And because it is such a devastating emotional moment, the reasonable person doesn't count. So because of that, it's a grey area of law, which is why they have situations like this. And it can be multiple different situations. There's loads of cases like this. But the one thing that's always the same is it needs to be instantaneous. It needs to be a moment of straight away, which then the courts say, and the lawyers argue, that in this moment, you've literally blacked out in rage, acted completely out of your body, and then snapped back into yourself because something happened that took you out of your usual self, what a reasonable man would do, and then came back to it. And it's not something that you would ever do. If you don't have any previous convictions, and you've acted instantly, then yeah, you'll get off with a lighter sentence.
なぜ嘘をついたんですか。彼女自殺したんでしょ。弁護士は彼女の手に硝煙反応があったので彼女の死は自殺と推理していますね。ところがあなたは自分が彼女を撃ったという自供を貫いた。彼女あなたに殺してくれって頼んだんでしょ。
Oh, damn. Well, that makes the
当たったんですね。
that makes the Ava scene that much
彼女を撃ったのはあなたじゃないんだ。
curious.
彼女あの時こう言ったんでしょ。私を撃ってって。
私を撃って、そんな目で見ないで、殺して。
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to do some. There's no way we can have that guy's ass on our screen. That is disgraceful. So I'm gonna definitely have to blur that. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. All right, yeah. No, this is one of those rare times I I'm gonna be blowing the whole damn screen, man. I'm gonna be. It's all...
そんな目で見ないで。殺してよ。私を殺してよ。
俺じゃねえ。こいつ自分で撃ったんだ。俺じゃねえよ。なあ、俺じゃねえだろ。
やっぱりそうなんだ。すごいや。当たりですね。
違う。
あなたは彼女を置き去りにした。
Jesus
そうやっ
Christ.
て彼女の願望を叶えてあげたんだ。
違う。
じゃああなたのお母さんはあなたのお母さん、あなたが10歳の時投資してますよね。あの時もあなたお母さんを置き去りにした。
Alright, I hate this guy. I don't like this guy at all. I don't really understand this guy's goal here. Imagine you've got someone who is like very badass. Like this guy's literally what, like an assassin or a hitman or a bodyguard, whatever you want to call him. Either way, this guy could kick his ass. And he's goading him like this. Is he doing it on purpose? Don't like this guy at all.
これも当たり。すごいすごいや。驚いたな。本当に当たるんだ。あなた毎日毎日アル中のお母さんを家まで背負って連れて帰ってた。そうでしょ。いつもお母さんはあなたに言ってた。ここに置いてってくれって。それでもあなたは
How the
毎
hell
日
does
お
he
母さん
know
を背負っ
this?
て帰った。
How does he know this?
でもあの晩
ダメだってば。こんなところで寝ちゃ。平気だよ、平気。ここに置いてっとくれよ。
What a shitty mother, man.
起きてよ。
置いてきちゃったんだ。そうですよね。あなたはお母さんを置いてきちゃったんだ。翌日知らせがあった。お母さんが投資したと。でもその時あなたは思ったんだ。僕は悪くない。お母さんが置いてってくれって頼んだからそうしたんだって。その通りですよ。あなたは悪くない。お母さんもドラッグ中毒の彼女も死にたがっていたんだ。死にたがっている人を死なせてあげただけなんだ。あなたは間違ってない。あなたは正しい。生きる苦悩から彼女たちを解放してあげたんだ。エヴァだって死にたがっているじゃないですか。
Fucking hell, man.
ちょうどその時悪魔がやってきた。俺は悪魔を見ないようにすれ違った。見ちゃいけない、見ちゃいけない、絶対見ちゃいけない。俺は子供のように唱えていた。
But why? Johan knows things that I don't even know how he knows. And I'm saying this because in this situation, I feel like Johan would have been the one to tell Smarmy Guy all of that information. But then he hasn't met... I mean, he has met Johan. We saw him shake hands. But he said he wanted to speak to him. I don't know if Johan's even going to end up liking this guy. The bizarre thing about Johan is Johan's motivations, his like core motivation is perplexing. We have no idea what deep down drives Johan to do what he does. We don't really know what he really wants to do, like deep fucking down. The reason I'm saying this is like most killers have like a motivation. What's Johan's motivation? That guy in that room seemed happy when he was talking about like our boy's pain and suffering from his past. He was happy about it. The other thing that's interesting is the Lunge moment where we found out about Franz Bonaparte's son or whatever. That's just gone up in smoke. Like, nothing's going on there. And now we introduce this new character. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that guy seems like he gets a kick out of hurting people, but Johan doesn't. Johan just kind of does it because he does it. There's no real reason. And now that guy didn't want to look at Johan. I imagine it's just because in that moment he's just like completely fucked. He's like shocked and fucked and just doesn't want to. He's just detaching himself from all the darkness that's around him. And to be honest, that information probably scared the crap out of him because we don't even know if he's ever even told anyone that. I imagine maybe the police. Maybe. Because that information had to come from somewhere, right? Weird, dark, and heavy episode there. I guess that's where I'm going to end my reaction. Where are we going with this story now? So brilliantly complex and constantly moving. Just such a great freaking anime, man. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys next week where we jump into the 60s, which is the last decade before we finish, I guess. We got a few more episodes in the 70s and we're done. Damn. Well, hope you guys enjoyed my reaction today. Have yourselves an amazing evening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support this channel. I'm going to be live tonight on Twitch watching... we're going to be starting Noragami actually tonight on Twitch. So, yeah, if you want to join me for that, link in the description. And as always, my friends, you right there will see me in the next video.